Hey beautiful people, it's your girl Frankie here, and today we are talking about day shift nurse. Like, what can I say? I've done all shifts, as I stated before. But before we get started, I haven't put out a video because I got my wisdom tooth removed, so I was in some pain and it just was not working out too well. And don't mind the mess, okay? One thing I did not mention in the night shift nurse was that when you get off work, you're definitely going to need some blackout curtains because you're going to sleep and everybody's going to be live in the morning and in the daytime, so there's going to be a lot of noise. So if you have earplugs or things like that, you may want to use that so you can take a nap. People going to be cutting their grass, like, because they slept all night and you were up all night. But anyways, let's go ahead and get to day shift nurse pros and cons. So starting with the pro of day shift nurse is that you're getting off of work at a decent time of the day. So you're getting off at either 3, maybe 5, so you have the rest of your day to kind of do what you want to do, okay? Like, yeah. But the downside to that is that you got to go to bed early because a lot of day shift nurses, shifts start about like 6:30 in the morning or 6 in the morning, depending on where you work. If you get lucky, you may get to start at like 7 or 8, but a lot of the shifts that I've seen for day shift nurse is starting at like 6:30 in the morning. So keep that in mind that you're going to have to turn in a tad bit early in order to get up early. Now, back in the day when I was younger, honey, I can get like 4 hours of sleep and I was good. Now I need my whole 8 hours. So take that into consideration when you have a day shift. Now, another thing that I want to talk about that is a con to working in the daytime is that you can't schedule doctor's appointments, dental appointments. Like, you have to take off work in order to go to appointments. You know what I'm saying? So if you are a weekend nurse, which when you become a nurse, a lot of places do have weekend option, like weekend only options where you only work like the weekend. But if you are working during the day and you're doing 8-hour shifts, you're doing 5 days a week. So it's going to be very hard for you to get into those doctor's appointments and things like that. Now, if you do 12 hours, then you may only work like 3 days a week, and then the rest of the days you have to yourself to go to appointments and things. So keep that in mind when you're choosing day shift. With day shift, another pro is that you have tons of support in the daytime because all of the people in the office are there, the doctors are available. A lot of the doctors are in the building doing their rounds on their patients. So you don't have to worry about trying to contact somebody and not being able to reach anybody because day shift, a lot of people are up and a lot of businesses are going. So that is one of the major pros when it comes to day shift. Now, the con to that is that you have to deal with a lot of people. So you have to deal with the doctors asking you questions about their patients because, one, you take care of them and you kind of know certain things that the doctor may not know because they only see them a certain amount of times or whatever, only for a little bit of time because they have so many patients to see. So you will have doctors asking you questions, you will have patients asking you questions, you will have families asking you questions, and you would just have the office asking you questions or scheduling meetings and things like that during your shift, and you have to stop and go to the meetings, and when you come back to the floor, the CNA is like, oh, so-and-so failed, and then you have to do a fall report, and it's just a mess, okay? So, like I said, the pro is that you have support, but the con is that you have support, if that makes any sense. Another thing that I want to talk about is the families. Whew, child, not all the families are bad. Not all families are worrisome. Not all families are annoying. But I will say the con is that you have angry family. Like, one, they could be angry for something that they asked to be done with their loved ones like a week ago, 2 weeks ago. And that's understandable because sometimes you have nurses that don't actually move when they should be putting in orders and stuff like that. They don't do it. So that is understandable. I've had that happen where families were so upset because like 2 weeks ago they said they felt like their family had pneumonia and they wanted to get a chest x-ray and all this stuff, and then nothing got done. So that's understandable. But you do have some families that are just nitpicky. They just want to complain about something. Like, if a person called like this, don't mind my shirt, yeah, I'm looking real ratchet today. But anyways, if somebody call light is on and you don't move fast enough, they're upset. Mind you, if you're in a nursing home setting, you have a lot of patients to take care of. You don't have just one. And although we want to be super nurses and like do everything, but we can't. So if you have a critical situation going on, somebody put on their light, you have to go by the criticalness of who needs your help first. So that's when critical thinking comes in. Now I will say I've had families where they were already upset. Families would hit their call light just to see how long it would take you to get to their loved one room, because they've had bad experiences where they waited over an hour for someone to come, 2 hours for someone to come, like just ridiculous amount of times for someone to come to their room. So they would just hit the call light just to see if you're going to show up. So you have to be aware of, some families just had bad experiences and they're just not happy. So they're going to complain about everything. They're going to complain about the way you put their loved one's socks on. So they're going to complain about any and everything just because they are just not happy. So one thing I want to say is that you cannot take things personal, and even though they are attacking you, a lot of times you just can't take it personal. You got to just be like, okay, well, what is it that you need me to do, and just go ahead and do it. You know what I'm saying? So if the CNAs are taking too long to get their loved ones cleaned up, say they have on adult diapers and they need to be cleaned, then if you're able to without assistance, if they're like a one-time assist, or they're pretty independent and they just need a little help, then go ahead and do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't even prolong it. Don't wait. Don't say, oh, hold on, let me get a CNA. Like, just do it, and the problem will be solved right then and there. And trust me, families love that, and they'll be like, that nurse is freaking amazing. And then they tell your supervisor and all of them that you're freaking amazing. So keep that in mind when doing day shift. Also with day shift, you are going to have a lot of, it's not with you, but it's a lot of conflict that happens on day shift. Okay, I don't really know why, and I'm glad I don't do day shift, but it's always drama on day shift. Okay, it's always some CNAs that don't like each other, that want to fight. It's always nurses that don't like each other, or CNA that don't like the nurses, and it's always confused. That's what I have noticed every time that I've done day shift. And speaking of nursing homes, not hospitals, but I did do hospital as a patient care tech, and it was cool, but as far as the nursing home, it's just, I don't know if because they spend so much time together or they work too many days together, it's literally just drama. Like, I be just like, wow, I'm so glad I do night shift, because night shift usually don't have a lot of drama, and we all just kind of do our own thing. So yeah, keep that in mind. Just try to stay out of the drama. Just do your job. Don't try to be buddy with people, because they can't talk, because then they would think that you're showing favoritism, and that is just not the case. So keep that in mind. Just treat all of your CNAs, everyone, equal, and just be a positive person. And you're not going to have good days all the time, but definitely try to be positive. Another thing with day shift is that you are going to be interrupted doing your work. Let me tell you how annoying that is. So you will get to work and you will start your routine. Hopefully you're on the same floor that you're on every day, so you know your patients. During the daytime, it's a lot of chances they will float you. Okay, they will put you on a different unit or a different floor. Then you have to get to know different patients, and it just makes your day go by so much longer when you don't know the patients. Okay, but the annoying thing is that the office and the DON and the ADON, which is a director of nursing and assistant director of nursing, they may come to you and want you to do other things and pull you off your floor. So they would be like, oh, can you go over to floor B and help that nurse do this? You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't take into consideration that you're probably already busy and that you already have things to do. And yes, you can be like, well, no, I have things to do. That's when you need to speak up. But in the same motion, they are looking at you because they're not really asking you, they're telling you. So you have to keep that in mind when they are like, oh, can you go over there? And yeah, you have to just really keep that in mind. They're not really asking you. They're pretty much telling you that they need you to go over there. Or they'll be like, you know, I just got a complaint from a family, and, you know, something was supposed to be put in a week ago and it wasn't done. Can you go ahead and do it now? And it's like, okay, well, what am I putting in? Like, oh, can you put in a chest x-ray for this family? Well, why? Because it is. Because when you put in the order, you have to call the doctor and get the doctor approval for the order. You have to have a reason. You can't just be putting in orders. Like, it has to be, like, the doctor has to authorize it. So now you're calling the doctor and you're telling them, oh, you know, I need to get a chest x-ray approved for this patient. They're coughing up whatever secretions, whatever. Like, you have to know. And if you was not there when the situation happened, or you really don't know the patient, it's an awkward situation to call the doctor, because sometimes the doctor may ask you questions. Well, what was their vital signs? And you'll be like, so tip, whenever they come to you telling you about putting in orders for anything, just go ahead and get a doctor. Go ahead and get vital signs just so you have them. I'm telling you, because you never know, doctors will ask for that. And go ahead and fill out like an S-bar. If you don't know what an S-bar is, trust me, honey, when you get in school, you will learn what an S-bar is. But yeah, you fill out an S-bar and all that stuff. It's a lot of paperwork that goes behind it. Now, another con is that a lot of CNAs, because I'm just going to say a lot of CNAs, they are going, because when I was a patient care tech, I kind of felt the way that they felt. But now that I'm a nurse, I completely don't feel that way. But CNAs, they feel like nurses don't do anything. Okay, so in the daytime, you're going to have CNAs that are like, oh, the nurse, you don't do nothing. Like, all you do is sit at the computer. All you do, and da-da-da. Okay, I used to be in that boat when I was a patient care tech. I like to keep it real with y'all. I used to be like, these are some lazy nurses. Like, y'all don't do nothing. Like, all you do is sit down and talk and be on the computer. Like, that was so annoying, because I would have like 7 lights going off and no one was helping me, and I had a lot to do. So I was in that boat. But then once I became a nurse, then I'm like, wow, they really don't just sit down and do nothing. Like, when I say it's so much paperwork. So you will have some CNAs that may talk negative about you. They may just talk negative, not about your personality, but just in general, of saying like, oh, she don't do nothing. You know, mind you, you could have done like a million things that day, but they're going to pinpoint that one time that you didn't get up to help them with a call light or something. You know what I'm saying? It'd be something so minute. But a lot of them don't understand that there's a lot of legal work and a lot of paperwork and documentation that needs to be done. So even though nurses, even though you may be just sitting there, you're not really sitting there. You may be waiting on an order. You may be waiting for your computer to load correctly. You may be sitting up there thinking, how can I word this so it doesn't sound ratchet? Like, yeah, you know, like when family cuts you out, or if the patient is being very combative and things like that, you have to word it in a appropriate way. You know what I'm saying? You can't just be like, oh, patient keeps swinging on me and saying you don't know me. Like, I don't know, like, you have to word it professionally. You know what I'm saying? Because these are legal documents that when you go into court, if you have to go into court, these are the documents they're going to pull up and they're going to present as evidence in court. So just be aware and be conscious of the fact not every CNA is not going to understand what you have to do as a nurse if they, you know, don't really know nurses and things like that. So, so just keep that in mind. So when it comes to day shifts, okay, so if you're working, like I said, you need to go to bed a little bit early. During day shift, another con is that if you have children, it's a lot of times you can't just leave work. You know what I'm saying? If it's an emergency, I'm sure your job would be like, okay. But a lot of times you can't just leave work. You can't just be like, oh, my child is acting up in school, I need to go get them. It's not that simple. It's not that easy. And you will accumulate points or whatever disciplinary actions that come against you. You have to keep that in mind. Okay, so that's the thing I like about night shift, that I have my days free. So if I do need to go up to my child's school, or if I need to go to doctor's appointments, if I need to do whatever, I can do it in the day. I'm not, you know, at work. I don't have to come up with, tell them all my business. You know what I'm saying? So I really like that. Another thing I want to mention is that with day shift, there's a lot of clicky, groupie type stuff going on. So you don't know who all are friends, best friends, whatever. But you have a lot of clicking up. And like I said, the daytime, it's a lot of people. It's just a lot going on in daytime. So you will have administrators or something, like if you do tell them something personal about yourself or business or whatever you have to tell them, then they may run back and tell a CNA because that's their little cousin. And the next thing you know, all of your business is floating around on the floor and all of this stuff. So just be very mindful of how you present yourself and what you say, and don't give out too much information about yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because you might think you're cool with someone and you tell them something personal, and then next thing you know, it's the talk of the floor or the building, and that is just uncomfortable for you. And yeah, you just not gonna like it. Okay, so hopefully I kind of hit on everything. If I have forgotten something, let's comment that down below if you are a day shift nurse. Another con is that you really don't get enough time to eat breakfast in the morning and stuff, unless you get up like super duper early to make you breakfast and eat breakfast. A lot of day shift nurses be late because they stop to get them something to eat or a coffee from Starbucks. Like, that's usually the most two reasons why nurses are late. So from my experience doing night shift, when I'm waiting on a day shift nurse, they come in later because they have to go get them some food or get them their coffee from Starbucks or something like that. So that is something to consider. Pack your lunch, try to meal prep during daytime, you know, before your shift. Just try to have things already ready so you can just grab in the morning and go, so you don't have to stop and spend your money on something that you probably already had at home. But anyway, so hopefully that kind of helped you guys out with the pros and cons of being a day shift nurse. If I have forgotten anything, like I said, comment it down below, because this is literally just something I just started recording. I didn't have no list, just like night shift, so I gotta do better. But anyways, I hope you guys found this helpful. But yeah, I hope you guys found this helpful. And like always, subscribe, comment, share, give this video a big thumbs up, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.